Here's my audience. Imagine yourself being diagnosed with an illness you have no control over. Now imagine being told that you can no longer live the life you have been up to this point. Instead, you will be moved into a mental institute. According to Mental Health by the Numbers, 1 in 5 adults in the U.S. experiences a mental illness in a given year. If you're fortunate enough to not be part of this statistic, chances are you probably know someone who is. I work as a DSP at CCRI in Moorhead, and I have seen 2 of my clients that suffer from mental illness experience many benefits that come from living a more independent life in a community home. People suffering from mental illness should be encouraged and able to live in a community home and focus on improving their lives. I'm going to outline some issues that have been seen with mental illness, as well as the benefits that can occur from assisted living and why it's important. In order to truly understand the benefits, first we must understand what it means to be mentally ill. According to Mayo Clinic, mental illness is defined as a disorder that affects the mood, thinking, and behavior of an individual. Severe mental illness interferes with the person's daily tasks. Some examples of mental illness include depression, schizophrenia, anxiety disorders, ADHD, and addictive behaviors, just to name a few. So now that we have defined what mental illness is, let's take a look at some of the statistics of the living situations that face the mentally ill population today. While steps have been made to diminish the use of insane asylums due to their harsh treatment, there are still many issues with the current living situations today. According to the article titled, "Should More Mentally Ill Be Institutionalized?" 1/3 of the homeless population and 1/2 of the prison population has a diagnosable mental illness. According to Alan Francis, state prisons alone spend nearly $5 billion annually just to incarcerate mentally ill inmates that are not violent. So along with this, I have a video basically just interviewing that situation exactly, a patient that was mentally ill and he's not violent, but he is in jail.
With the inmates and their cases.
Do you have any violence in your background? No violence at all. Not at all? None at all. Where have you been living before? Yeah. On the train. On the train? What are you accused of stealing? 1 pair of jeans.
Okay. But you were just telling the sheriff, you've been here for 2 months over 1 pair of stolen jeans.
Yes, sir.
And you were homeless before that, living on the train.
Yes, sir.
And what are they telling you in terms of your trial, of what's going to happen, anything of that nature?
They're not telling me anything at all. I've just been waiting for 3 months.
And nothing, no information.
No information at all. Vision too been kind of helping me with my mental health issues because I'm being medicated for bipolar and depression.
Were you receiving any treatment when you were outside of the system?
No, I was using drugs instead of taking my medication.
Using drugs is to help medicate yourself.
Yes.
100.
Okay. So basically, just to recap what that was about, oftentimes it's seen if a mentally ill patient doesn't receive proper treatment, they'll have what's known as an episode, and even if it's not violent, a lot of times something like this guy's situation can put them in jail, which explains why there are such high mentally ill numbers as far as the population of jail goes. So while it's important to understand that living situations aren't good, we also need to focus on benefits that come from proper treatment and assisted living. There are a number of benefits that can arise from proper treatment in community homes. Compared to specialized treatment facilities, people with severe illness living in community homes feel more accepted, feel less lonely, and have a greater quality for life, according to the article Housing and Residential Facilities. This article also states, quality of housing has a critical effect on the relapse rates and the ability for the individual to stay and function well in the community. So now that you know the benefits, you might be asking, well, I don't have a mental illness, how does this affect me? Well, the current consequences of the ineffective treatment for our mentally ill population have already taken effect on the rest of the population of the United States. there has been an increase in the prevalence of mental illness in college-age students. According to the College Student Mental Health Crisis, this one is right here, 1 in 3 college students have reported prolonged depression. So along with this, the growing elderly population is known for experiencing mental illness. But it's not just an issue for the elderly, it's an issue for their family members as well. According to Elizabeth Ecker, 14 to 20% of the elderly population suffers from 1 or more mental illnesses. The CDC states that by 2020, it's estimated that depression will be the 2nd leading cause of disability, just behind heart disease. This proves that mental illness is not just a phase, and it's not just going to go away unless we figure out proper treatment to diagnose and prevent it, as well as fix the issue that is already in place. Those suffering from mental illness should be encouraged to live in community houses and focus on improving their lives. There are a number of issues with the treatment that has effects on the entire population, but there are also a number of benefits that can arise through proper treatment and the use of community homes. By taking control over this issue now and instilling proper treatment and living facilities, we can improve mental health all over the United States.